Let us remember that we are in the holy presence of God. Sometimes it's really hard to remember that we are always in the holy presence of God. Sometimes we just simply forget. Sometimes we remember, but it's really hard to see Him. And when that's happened in my life, it's often because for some reason, in chapter of my life, it's getting a little rocky. Or there are some type of winds and waves that are picking up. There's some type of storm in my life. And this is part of the reason why I connect with this upcoming Sunday's gospel, when Jesus is walking on the water. Jesus' followers set out into a boat to cross the sea. And when they were halfway across, the wind and the waves began to throw them about. When they looked out over the waves, they saw Jesus walking towards them over the water, and they were terrified because they thought he was a ghost. Jesus called out to them, "It is I, do not be afraid." Peter replied, "If it's you, Lord, tell me to come out to you on the water." And Jesus said, "Come." And so Peter got out of the boat and began to walk to Jesus on the water. But becoming distracted by the wind and the storm, he began to sink. And he cried out, "Lord, save me." Jesus stretched out his hand and caught him. When they got back into the boat, the wind died down, and his followers said, "Truly, you are the Son of God." We have had more than our fair share of storms since this past March. And where have the winds and the waves been in your life? For me, there's been fears of safety and health for myself, for my family, for loved ones. There's uncertainty about the future. What's the best way to end this pandemic? What is the school year going to look like come September? And all of these storms, notice Jesus' response. First of all, he doesn't tell his followers that the winds and waves are just silly and not a concern, but he directs their focus onto himself and says, "Do not be afraid." And second, when Peter begins to sink, he is right there to catch him. I've heard people comment on Peter's lack of faith when he begins to sink, but consider this. First, he's the only one of Jesus' followers who step out of the boat. And second, when he becomes distracted, he knows exactly what to do and turns right back to Christ. In 2019, the St. Joe's Swing Choir sang a song called Oceans. The song is about following God's invitation to step out onto the water, even in uncertainty. As we end today's video, we're going to listen to that song. And as it's playing, take some time to tell God about the storms in your life and ask Him to show Him where He is present and where He is stretching out His hand there to catch you. Live Jesus in our hearts forever.
Call me out upon the water, great unknown, their feet may fail, where feet may fail and fear surrounds me. In oceans deep, my faith will stand. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters wherever you would call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be made stronger in the presence of my Savior. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters wherever you would call me.
Take me deeper, Lord.
Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander. And my faith will be made stronger in the presence of my Savior. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters
Wherever you would call me.
wherever you would call me.
presence of my